Hey there, I am Karina, and due to some unforeseen circumstances, and just some bad recording on my behalf, we won't be posting our previous campaign stories. And I know everyone's really excited to be hearing about where our stories are and what happened prior. So, what I'm going to be doing is telling you guys a story about where our campaign began to where they are now. We even have a prequel, which we did for Easter. The video is up. I do apologize. The audio is down. That was definitely my bad on recording. Um, Still learning how to record a bit, I guess. So, without any further ado, welcome to Down and Dirty D&D or D&D Squared, whichever you prefer. Where we started was a one-shot. And the one shot actually took about 3 weeks to do. So, we started with all of our characters coming together for a job. Sounds pretty standard. Everyone decided to go for this job interview. There was a mystery murder in a small little town, and they all ganged together to discover what the murder was, who was doing it. During that adventure, a couple of the characters did fall. Um, we have a Muppet born. His name is Sherlock Bones. He claims to be the greatest detective. He's a bit clumsy, but he is superiorly magical. We also have Creed, a tiefling who is a necromancer. She's kind of a basket case, for lack of a better word. I'm very sorry, Creed. She's kind of put off by humans and just kind of likes to stand on the sidelines. We also have, I'm going to make sure I pronounce this properly, Carcothium. Sorry, Car. We call him Car. Anyways, we also have Car. He is a halfling monk who likes to get drunk. And he's a little quirky with his, the way he uses his herbalism kit. However, throughout all these adventures, every time he likes to drink, for some reason, trouble ensues. We have Seraphina, the half elf, half dragonborn. She's a mix of elf and dragon. She's a ranger. She is very quiet, likes to stand on the sides, figure out what's happening, and then just annihilate shit without any warning. Just goes for it. Sometimes she doesn't really care if her comrades are in the way. If it gets the job done, the job is done. We have Mardred Frostbeard the First, a dwarf paladin. Very brute, very loyal to her word, and follows the law and the rules, which kind of puts her out for a lot of the adventures that our characters have been through already. They've put her in quite the predicaments to where she's had to pull back and pull them back as well. We also have a guest character who comes and goes every so often, and that character's name is Mystic Moonshine. She is a human wizard, and her background is yet still unknown to the rest of our characters, except for Creed and Sherlock Bones, who we have nicknamed Bonesy. So I guess we can start with that adventure so you guys can understand the background of these three characters before we go into the rest of the campaign. Um, Again, the job interview. There was an interview for a job, and it was for a heist. And there was two options to take. There was either the really sneaky way or the loud, abrupt way. What one do you think my crew decided to pick? Of course. So, 3 magic users decide to do this heist. It is for the Egg of Easter, and it is in a bank. They, of course, have very poor planning, but they somehow come up with the greatest plan ever to go get a cart with a reinforced front to break through the doors of the bank. Mystic came up with a brilliant idea to put it at the top of the hill, and they pull ropes to release the wheels, and it just runs into the bank. Totally brilliant on Mystic's part. Kind of not good for me. So the 3 of them managed to get into the bank. There is a lot of craziness. There's a Bonnie and Clyde type feel. Bonesy stood up on the cart, told everyone to freeze. Quite literally, as he has frost hand. They went into the bank. They tripped so many traps. Came out almost unscathed as they found the Egg of Easter. They managed to escape as a golem chased them. Huge ass golem. Don't know how they managed. The Muppet-born Bonesy is driving the cart with the 2 horses. There's Mystic trying to make sure that the golem's not getting anywhere near them. There is the Tiefling Creed going absolutely crazy trying to attack this golem. And they have a hostage aboard. During the battle, Creed ends up falling out after the whole cart being hit by a tree, but she managed to hold on just by her tail. That was a great roll, by the way. I'm pretty impressed. Again, they did not come out unscathed, but they came out on top. Lots of money. When they opened some of the lock boxes after giving the egg over to the boss, Mystic was given a property, a deed to a property. Creed and Bonesy decided to give the cart and the carriage and cart and horses over to Mystic. So Mystic came out with a deed, a cart, some horses, and lots of cash. Creed and Bonesy then made their way over to the rest of the crew for another job, to where they've met now Mardred, Carr, Seraphina, and a couple others. And this is where some of the adventures kind of start and get a bit crazy. I know I touched the murders and then I introduced the characters. I'm not going to edit this. I apologize in advance if I'm all over the place. So here we go. They meet up to do the murders, or to check out the murders. During their murder escapade, they realize that not only are these like murders, it's an actual assassin targeting one of their blacksmiths. In the process, Bonesy made a wonderful friend out of a gnome who was an artificer, and they hit it off. He absolutely loved the gnome and loved the little creatures in which he created. Everyone else decided to chase after this assassin. Of course, Bonesy followed, to which they discovered a portal. The portal opened in front of them, and without hesitation, they decided to run in after it. Of course, the portal wasn't ready and was about to close, and in that closing, parts of Bonesy, like a hand, was coming out of his back, and there was a bunch of craziness. It's a portal. He had an exponential life issue at that point, because as a Muppet and seeing a hand come out of him, he thought he lost his soul. So at this point, Bonesy's kind of off his rocker. Creed, however, was not part of this adventure quite yet. She did her own thing and joined in after. They managed to get through the portal. They end up in a clockwork area filled with Modrons. They introduce themselves to one Modron named Sleepy. Sleepy helped them get through. They did a little bit of crazy battling, all to find this assassin, to which they never found as they decided to head back to the portal. The portal was starting to close on them, and they ran out of time. They headed back through the portal, and there was a priestess waiting there for them, kind of chuckling and snickering, and decided to help the crew out as a war was headed towards that town, and they did as much as they could to help it already. She opened up another portal to where then Creed just happened to walk in and see it, and they were all sucked in to Wildmount. They landed on a quiet little island called Palmaflora. It was beautiful. Carr went drinking. Margaret kind of sat back and enjoyed the sun. Creed just kind of climbed a tree and enjoyed life up in the tree. And Bonesy decided to partake in a little shark hunting festival that was happening at the time. He learned how to use a harpoon. He was really nice. They made lots of friends. They made lots of connections. And then the earth started rumbling below them. As the earth started rumbling below them, they noticed that part of the island started cracking off the main shore, and it was starting to sink. Simultaneously, there was shark people starting to attack them on the shore. None of them understanding exactly what was going on, as they were just thrown onto this island. They're thrown into a festival. They're meeting all these people. They're enjoying themselves. They don't know the history of the island, and they start to protect the people, unaware that these shark people were sick of the sharks being hunted during the tournaments, and it was just like a clash of nations, more or less. Our crew decided to just go headfirst into the whole situation, not really questioning it until after the island fully sunk into the ocean. After the island sunk into the ocean, they were all rescued by a pirate named Three Earrings. She's a tabaxi, very gorgeous kitty lady, and has quite the attitude as well, with ulterior motives, as most pirates have. The crew joined on to this pirate ship with Three Earrings, where Carr kind of got slapped in the face by hitting on her a bit much, a little bit of hard petting. Margaret started speaking with the refugees and some of the other people aboard, where they've now made some friends who actually weren't refugees, but people aboard the ship, either working there, working time off, or heading to other places. Mystic, of course, wasn't part of this. Creed was also making some friends, talking to dolphins, learning some things about the crew, about the island, and that's when they started realizing that A, Three Earrings has some ulterior motives, and B, the shark people weren't necessarily in the wrong. Three Earrings came up to them and gave them an offering. You help me, I help you. Scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So, the crew graciously accepted, as their curious nature wanted to get down into the ruins. They popped over to Port Damali. They loaded up some gear. They were given some scuba gear, and they headed back out to the ruins. There was a priestess, Salachi, who was one of the shark people, and she had what's called the Rod of Retribution, which actually caused the earthquake and caused the island to sink. And at this time, our characters didn't really quite know or understand this, and decided to just try and get that Rod of Retribution for Three Earrings, and the treasure as well. It was a long, arduous battle. However, they came out on top. They destroyed the entire nation of shark people. and in the process lost a couple of their characters as well. So now this small party just got a little smaller. After that, they decided to head back up to the boat, to where they are now. So without giving too much detail away, they are in Wildmount. They are currently in the Menagerie Coast, and they have also kind of poo-pooed on the Clovis Concord generals, as they were more or less in a battle with them. The Clovis Concord decided to come aboard the ship, and they just wanted a simple bribe instead of taking 3 earrings in. But our crew, being the crew that they are, decided to attack first and ask questions later, to which during that time, not only did Bonesy sneak off with one of the crewmates, he decided to take his eye out, because the eye is the window to the soul. And since he lost his, or at least he thought he did, he thought maybe he could see someone else's soul, how they work, or to procure one himself. Interesting. A little crazy. They managed to kill the captain of the Clovis Concord as well. And 2 others. Yes, 2 others. But they strapped the body of one of them to Captain 3 Earrings' mast. The one that was tortured by Bonesy, Margaret and Creed fixed up the best that they could, without an eye, of course, sent him onto a rescue boat and sent him on his way. He swore he would never, ever tell them anything that ever happened. And luckily for them, they didn't name themselves. So, you kind of get a gathering as to where our crew is. They are very crazy, outgoing, and they're not without their own motives. But when shit hits the fan, they definitely help one another out. So, where the crew left off now at this point is we now have a backstory for Creed and Bonesy. They have gone to the ruins. They've battled the Clovis Concord in the Menagerie Coast. They're on a pirate ship. And at this point, they're just coming up from the ruins with all the treasures that they found, with all their spoils, and the Rod of Retribution. So now they're going to be heading back up to the boat, and that's kind of where I'm going to leave you guys. I know I short-formed everything. This could have been a super long story time, but I kind of wanted to just, shorten it up and bring you up to where we are. I can tell you that our crew is clumsy, kind of careless, really out there, and yeah, they're just really crazy. And they totally annihilate any plans that I ever have. So all of my planning kind of goes out the window when it comes to these guys. But I love it. It's lots of fun. This week, they will be getting back on the boat and heading back to shore. But I don't really know how some of them are going to react to coming back onto the boat, because 3 Earrings didn't tell them anything about the past of the shark people. Some of them are quite pissed off about that. And 3 Earrings also didn't protect them from the Clovis Concord and didn't tell them about the bribery deal that they had going on, which means they just broke a lot of laws in the Clovis area. So this week, we will be live streaming on Twitch, which then the video will be posted up on Twitch and it'll be there in the raw form. I will then be learning how to properly edit with sound and backgrounds, etc., etc. Lots of work. I'm learning and I'm excited to learn it. And those polished up videos will be on our YouTube, which is Down and Dirty D&D. Yeah, so thank you. I'm sorry if I'm kind of a weird storyteller. This is all new to me, just speaking into my camera and going through my notes and what have you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I do hope you enjoy our live streams. I am warning you now, it gets a little out of hand, but we are down and we are dirty. So I hope you guys enjoy our D&D squared, and I hope you guys have a lovely day.